All right, welcome to the video. Nate here. We're just about to get started. Cassandra, you ready?
I'm ready.
Chris, you ready?
I'm ready, Nate.
All right, let's get straight into it. We're going to skip the introduction and get straight into it. We're going to cover 3 recent case studies that Cassandra closed from 3 recent closed short sales in Florida. We're going to cover the 2 keys to doubling or tripling your short sale approval rate and closing percentage. And we will then tell you a little bit more about us and why a government program implemented during COVID is going to leave many homeowners with no options other than a short sale. We will show you how you can capitalize on all of this without ever actually talking to a bank. So this is super exciting, guys. So whether you are a licensed real estate agent trying to build a practice that specializes in short sales, or you want to open up a short sale division, if you're an agent that has no interest in doing short sales, but you want to find a competent short sale specialist that will pay you referral fees, if you're a mortgage professional that wants to start a short sale processing company, as well as a closing attorney or a title company that wants to do the same thing, or you're an investor who wants to build a team of agents that brings all their short sales to you so you can get better deals than the MLS, then you are at the right time at right now. Short sales aren't just coming, they're already here, right, Cassandra?
Oh, they're here.
So take us through these 3 case studies. We got one in Davenport.
Yep. So this one in Davenport, they originally bought the house for $355,000. They had 1 mortgage. They were behind with their HOA, and they actually had a delinquent water bill, which all added up to $386,000 due. We negotiated the net to the lender for $282,037 and some change. And we also got the sellers $3,000 in relocation, and the short sale lender paid our compensation for a total of $19,380 to the agent.
So it's important to point out that during the last foreclosure crisis, in case you don't already know, the seller was never allowed to really get money. Nowadays, we're seeing them pay $3,000 to $5,000 to the seller.
Yeah, we always ask for that, and they're super happy when we're able to get negotiated in for them.
But you're not going to get it if you don't ask for it.
Right.
So that's key. Case study number 2, we got Mulberry.
Sure. We got a townhouse here in Mulberry. The original purchase price was $169,000. With late fees and court costs, it took her balance up to $193,000. We negotiated a net to the lender of $138,000 and some change. And we also got the seller a $3,000 assistance for relocation. And the short sale lender paid the agent compensation of a little over $9,000.
Just for the agents watching this right now, just how powerful is it to be able to offer, there's probably about a 50-50 chance that you can get them that relocation assistance of anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. Most of your competition isn't even doing that, so it gives you a real competitive edge.
Yeah, the sellers are super grateful, and I'll tell you, they are great sources of referrals.
So case study number 3, Lake Alfred. This one was not a short sale, but it was a pre-foreclosure, right?
Yeah, it was a distressed seller who was behind on many different things, and they still had a little bit of equity, so it wasn't technically a short sale. We were able to strategically price this home to get it sold in a time frame that worked for the sellers and able to get them to walk away with a little over $3,000 and the compensation paid out to the agents.
And these were all closed in 2025.
Yes.
When there was less short sale opportunities than there is now. So you're probably going to triple or quadruple at least the amount of short sales you close this year, probably.
Oh, I'm almost 10 times the amount right now.
Right. Awesome. Cool. So the big problem, walk us through this, Cassandra. Why do agents and investors, and why do people hate these so much? And
so I think the main problem is lack of understanding, right? So short sales take a long time, making the house less valuable. Nobody wants to wait 3 to 6 months to get an approval. Buyers and agents representing the buyers will sometimes steer them away because they just don't understand the process. Agents are frustrated calling the bank. The bank will out-negotiate the agent if they don't know the right questions to ask. They keep asking for the same documents over and over. The agents get frustrated. And, a lot of agents don't want to wait 3-6 months to have a closing because sometimes short sales take a while. And then if we finally do get the short sale approved, the buyer might be tired of waiting and they've already moved on to another property.
Right. So the national closing percentage is only 25 to 35%.
Yeah.
You're closing at least 70 or 80%.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about and show you guys how. The good news is, however, take this one away.
Yeah, so the last time we had two loans typically to negotiate, you're negotiating the 80/20 loans, the 100% financing. And when you're negotiating, you had to get the second lender to agree most of the time to take $1,000, which they didn't want to do. And we'd have to negotiate simultaneously with two different lenders. It was a lot. And, we're not seeing that as much anymore. If they've got multiple mortgages, it's usually due to a modification and you're still just negotiating with the first lender.
So that's good news for this to go around. Why are real estate agents so important for short sales, Cassandra? I remember when I started in 2006, you could be an investor. You didn't even know, you didn't even need an agent. And nowadays, that's not really the case, right?
No, so I think the banks are aware that they must be marketed on MLS. They must be listed by. You cannot do a short sale for sale by owner. You can't. It's not allowed. You have to have it listed by an agent on a local MLS market. So the market that the house is located in must be listed on that local MLS. And you can't short sale a property if it's not listed on the MLS.
And the banks are paying a 6% commission. Not that that's standard, you're supposed to negotiate it, but just know that that is what the banks are typically paying. Let's talk about why a bank would accept less than what is owed on the property. This is the Florida foreclosure timeline because we're in judicial states. If you're in a non-judicial state like Texas, this timeline is much shorter. But basically, from the first, payment that the seller misses, they go into default, and then in 90 days they get a legal notice. This is basically kind of like a legal threat that basically says pay us or else we're going to sue you via a lis pendens. Another 30 days go by, they actually file the lawsuit, and then in another 90 days it goes to a foreclosure hearing in front of a judge, and that's where they set the foreclosure date in another 30 to 45 days, and then it goes to auction. Most of these short sales at auction don't actually sell to an investor. The bank will actually bid against you to prevent their $300,000 asset from getting given away for, say, $100,000 or whatever. So then they get clear title when the bank buys their own house back at the auction in 11 to 14 days. And then the bank sells the property as an REO, which stands for real estate owned by a bank, and they typically lose their shirt. They lose much more money than they would have if they had just taken the loss now, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a benefit for the lenders to accept a short sale.
So this is a 240-day timeline, which is pretty standard. In some cases, this process can take much longer, years, if the seller lawyers up with a good foreclosure defense attorney or files bankruptcy, Chapter 13, which is a reorganization bankruptcy where you have to pay back some of your unsecured debt, or Chapter 7, which is a liquidation bankruptcy, and you can't transfer title when it's in bankruptcy. So just understand that because of this is the reason why would a bank take a loss on something? They signed the note for the whole thing. That's why, because it all just comes down to cost, time, value of money and numbers and cents. So Cassandra, walk us through what are like the two biggest things people need to be aware of to make sure their short sale gets approved.
Yeah, so the first thing is you got to get an offer quick. Now, you can't get it too quick, right? Because you got to be listed for 6 days, including a weekend, on your local MLS. However, you don't want to wait your average time frame of 80 days on the market to then finally possibly get an offer, because the timeline for the foreclosure or the lender for filing foreclosure is still moving forward. So you've got to get an investor that's going to put an offer on your short sale after you've met the marketing requirements for the bank.
And key number 2, don't forget the most important part, which we're going to get to. So the typical timeline of a typical agent with a short sale listing, Cassandra, kind of walk us through this.
Yeah, so most of the time the agent is going to list the property at, sometimes I've even seen them listed at what they think needs to clear the mortgage because they don't understand. Or they listed at what, full retail and they don't have a buyer in mind and it sits on the market.
So they have like the mindset of the higher offer I get, the
Yeah.
more likely it will get approved. And you'll see that that's not really the case.
No.
So 30 days go by, they still don't have a buyer.
Nope.
60 days go by, still don't have a buyer.
Yep.
90 days go by, finally gets a buyer from the MLS for an anxious FHA retail buyer represented by an agent at full retail,
Yeah.
which sounds great, right? 120 days go by. They're waiting on the bank to order what's called a BPO, or broker's price opinion. We're seeing nowadays they're actually doing full-blown appraisals.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this in a second. The BPO appraisal is finally ordered by the bank, and the listing agent just gives them the lockbox code to go in. While waiting approval, the buyer finds another house and withdraws the offer. Listing agent scrambles to find another buyer and loses the house to auction anywhere between 64 to 75% of the time, depending on the market, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a better way. So what we teach our students, and the reason why, Cassandra's closing 70, 80% of her short sale listings is because of what we call the short sales riches timeline. So you get the listing, you list it at a competitive price for 6 days. Why is it so important that it's listed at like a 30-day quick sale value?
Because that's going to be looked at as well as the appraiser who's going to do the valuation for the bank.
It directly kind of influences what the bank's appraisal might come in at if they see that, well, we tried to sell it for this price and it didn't sell. So 6 days, you already got your investor lined up. You've got relationships with investors, and these investors will often pay you both sides because they're not represented, right?
Yeah,
So you can double side a lot of these short sale transactions that you normally wouldn't have been able to. 30 days in, home is already marked pending, and then impatient buyer backup offers. I say discouraged. That's not the case in every time, but you want to make sure that you don't go in a contract with someone that is just going to flake out, right?
Yeah, and you also don't want them calling you every 3 days wondering what's going on with the short sale.
Right. So 60 days or more, BPO appraisals ordered. Remember, at this phase, the regular agents doing it the normal way that they think is the best way to do it, they haven't even gotten to this point
they're still
yet.
on the market.
They're still on the market, right. It's 90 days go by. The buyer doesn't care because he has an offer on 10 or so other short sales anyways, because he's an investor. Yep. He's not emotionally attached to the house like Bill and Susie Homebuyer, right?
Yep.
Short sales either approved 120 days in or countered at a price that the investor can live with, which means we move forward with the closing. Or if it's at a higher price that is higher than he's willing to pay, you can now market pending or you can now market active on the MLS and it's verbally approved, right?
Right. And you can market it as the price is approved, which is going to incentivize the buyer's agents and buyers to feel more confident that they can make an offer on that short sale, knowing the price is the price they can buy it for.
So if you're having conversations with a buyer's agent and the buyer's agent is looking at 2 short sale listings and one, we got to start it now, and the other one's like, well, we're already halfway done.
Right. And we've already got the price approved.
We already know this price they'll take. So I mean, they're not going to just flake out or discourage their buyers from making
And it's much quicker from that point on, too.
Right. Makes your listing worth more. New MLS retail buyer transactions being closed or negotiated around this time. And then we have a whole extra 30 days of extra time to account for unforeseen circumstances in getting the approval. So this is why you can close as high as 85% or more as opposed to just 25 to 35 or 36%. The most important part to getting your short sale approved, as we talked about previously, is the broker's price opinion, right? So walk us through this. It's the one thing you can't mess up.
No, absolutely. So the bank's going to order a valuation, whether it's a BPO or an appraisal. That appraiser is going to put the value on the price, and that's going to go back to the lender. The lender's going to use that, compare the offer, and then decide if it's acceptable or what net they're willing to accept. So the short sale lender will order that, 30, 60, 90 days in. Once you have a complete packet and an offer, you need to meet them out there, period. Do not just give them the lockbox code. This is one of the most important parts of the process. So you have to meet them out there, and you've got to inform the appraiser about what's going on in the market. What are the drawbacks of the house or the area, or why is the house being sold lower than maybe the comps he pulled?
So you bring stuff like this?
Oh, absolutely. I bring a packet. I show up with my documents. I bring the contract, the comps that support the value that you're at, your MLS history, if it's come in and out of contract, or if you started higher and had to reduce it, or you can show where it's been marketed and this is the best offer we got.
Expired or withdrawn listings for agents who are working on this before you.
Yep.
Oftentimes it was an agent that was just trying to get retail.
Many times it is listed prior, way higher than the market will bear. You can show that it expired, and then they find you for doing it as a short sale.
Seller concessions and contractor estimate, that's important too.
Yep. Any repairs that need to be done, anything that's wrong with the house that's going to prevent it from getting financing, or anything that is going to lower the value, basically.
Unqualified comps, you can find out if a comp is unqualified, typically on the property appraiser website. An unqualified comp would be like a short sale or a bank-owned property or probate that's sold to a family member.
Yeah.
Those are more comparable to the situation that you're in now, so you can always use those. And then you've had success with bringing market news articles that are relevant to the property on your BPOs.
Yeah, so a lot of appraisers only look at the past and they don't see where we're heading. They don't know if they're coming out most of the time to even do an appraisal for a retail buyer or for a short sale. And so you've got to let them know, hey, you're doing the valuation for the lender. This is for the valuation for the short sale. And here's short sales are coming back. We're expecting this area to see an influx, or did you know this area is, ranked number 3 in the state for whatever you can educate them with, because they have to put on the appraisal whether the market is declining, stable, or increasing. And all of that's going to affect the value that they put on the property.
It's important to remember appraisers are used to appraising things for purchases and refinances. So they're
Yes.
always trying to get it to come in high.
Correct.
This is kind of the opposite because we're in a distressed situation. So it's very important that you don't ignore this. Whatever the BPO comes in at, the banker's going to want a net typically anywhere between 80 to 90%, which is why this is so important. In some cases, less. So if you guys have heard enough from Casandra and her wisdom, and you've already heard enough, you're like, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. I'm just going to sign up for whatever they have. You can get short sales certified with our new Short Sales Riches 2.0 system. You just click the button below to get started on that. For everyone else, you still want to hear more, we got more to cover on why this opportunity is so big. So Casandra, let's shift gears a little bit and tell people a little bit about your background and your credentials.
Okay, hey guys, I've been licensed since 2004, so going on 22 years now. Got involved in doing short sales back in 2008, 2009, and did that almost exclusively for a good number of years. And for some reason or another, I've always had at least one active short sale since 2009. So I've stayed up and current on what's been going on with the short sale process and the market for short sales basically my whole career. 5 agents on my team. We did a little over $40 million in volume last year. And I'm married and have my husband Brandon, and we have a 19-year-old son.
Awesome. And then we've got Chris, who we haven't heard from yet. Chris McLaughlin, you are the owner of the office that Casandra works in, right?
Yeah, Nate. So I'm a real estate attorney, graduated from Georgetown Law back in 1999. And I own 4 Keller Williams Realty offices here in the Central Florida area, Tampa, Lakeland, Winter Haven, with close to 800 agents. And I've actually got a nice portfolio of 80 homes that I own, and 45 of them are free and clear. So I have been very active in real estate investing. And I actually, back in the day, started a real estate stock trading newsletter called smartportfolio.com, which sold to thestreet.com. So if you're familiar with Jim Cramer on Mad Money, his company bought my company back in December of 2000. And then worked with Nate on the Short Sales Riches system back in 2009. Also wrote a book on real estate investing on Amazon, which was a New York Times bestseller. And I've got 5 kids and married to Brandy.
Awesome. So, Chris, let's talk about why we're really here. The market shifting agents are noticeably, I know in your office you're hearing from agents that are noticing that, okay, market is not getting as much showings and listings are tough.
Sure, Nate. Well, basically, it's just history repeating itself. Okay, so in the year 1800, the real estate market has gone up and down in 18-year cycles. So the last foreclosure crash was in 2007 to 2010. If you just add 18 years to that, it gets us right to 2025. So things are very repetitive. And we're going to talk a little bit about the reasons for that. But again, this is nothing new, nothing to really freak out about. It's just history repeating itself.
And there's opportunity for people that know how to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
So this is the real estate cycle. You can see where we are. We are here, right? And we're going to likely see an adjustment over the next 3 to 4 years, regardless of whether rates are higher or lower. Some agents and some investors think, well, if we just lower rates, it's going to fix everything. But that's probably not the case.
Right. Well, we're going to get into the reason why things are headed in the wrong direction. But in general, it's a cycle. So just you can check out the statistics here. But I think probably the biggest thing that happened was back in 71 when we got off the gold standard. That really caused a lot of inflation, and the Fed's just printing money now. So we've got a huge debt, and we've got a deficit, and we've got to correct both of them. And it's going to take a lot of time. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. So we're going to have another cycle.
In 1971, you could be a shoe salesman and have a wife and 2 kids with a house and a white picket fence and, buy a house for, $50,000. Well, that same house, because of inflation and because of getting off the golden standard, is now $500,000. So it's more difficult for homeowners to retire. We're definitely running across an unaffordability issue. But this is also the reason why real estate is the best investment ever, because it keeps up with inflation and it pays you dividends and you can write off depreciation. So what happened last time, Chris?
Well, basically, last time we had ninja loans, no income, no asset, no job, no problems. So I think everybody's kind of familiar with this, that if you just had a pulse and maybe you had a decent credit score, you get a loan. So it's just like candy, so given to a baby. And, the reality is that we're not in that time right now, but we've done some workouts that we're going to talk about in a little bit that have created all kinds of problems for us. We've got COVID right now. We had COVID, and in some of the markets right now, there's all kinds of pre-foreclosures from HOAs, not necessarily the banks. And banks, because they kind of try to learn their lesson from last time, they're sandbagging the foreclosures and they're doing endless workout programs. So probably the biggest one right now that's important is the FHA workout program.
Right, which we're going to talk about. Florida has ranked among the top states for foreclosure activity in recent periods. 1 in every 2,067 housing units in January. Usually they ranked 1, 2, or 3 in national foreclosure rates. 3,523 list pendants filed in Florida's judicial system, and it's risen year over year over the last 2 years, and it's consistently elevating, often to post-pandemic mortgage resets, insurance costs. All of the crazy stuff happening in the world right now is probably also not helping. This is a news article, and story was covered by multiple news outlets talking about how Florida leads the country in home foreclosures, report says. The sky is not falling though, Chris, right?
Right. So, I mean, the reality is rates will probably go down with their new Trump appointee that's coming in May of 2026. So we're looking at that. And Trump has also been extending mortgages to 50-year terms, which I don't think is really a good idea, but it is what it is. And in the state of Florida, we're looking at reducing property taxes pretty significantly on homesteaded property. And but there's a big monkey wrench here that was thrown in, my friend.
Single biggest reason why the short sale opportunity is so huge, even in today's market, the FHA COVID-19 Recovery Loss Mitigation Options Program. So, Chris, talk about what this really was.
Well, this is basically when COVID happened and people were not making the cash flow, or they just kind of wanted to take advantage of the fact that they didn't have to make their payments. People knew that they could just call in and they would just kind of kick the can down the road. Well, a lot of people called in, they didn't make the payments, and then what they did is they took that unpaid balance and they attached it as another mortgage to the property. So people forget about this. And what we're finding, isn't this true, Casandra? What we're finding is you get to the closing table and people are like, what's this extra 25 grand I owe? And they had no idea, right?
Yeah, and either they show up and they actually have no equity left in the home and they walk away with nothing, or they're so upside down, they have no money to bring to the table and they can't sell the home. So their only other option at that point is short sell.
Yeah, and the thing about FHA, guys, remember FHA is just 3.5% down. So they don't have a lot of equity to begin with. And then you add in all of these missed payments as a second mortgage, they're way upside down.
So that program just ended September 30th, 2025. This is a screenshot that Chris, one of your agents, brought to us that showed a deal he was working on. And if you read it from right to left, when they bought the house, it was a $253,000 FHA loan. They went into default in 2022, and then there's an additional $15,000 workout mortgage, and done again in 2023 for $7,000, again in 2024 for $21,000
Right.
and some change.
So there's a lot of money tacking on that a lot of people just kind of forget about, and the roosters come home to roost.
So with $300,000 in debt, this house, at most, from our analysis, is worth $225,000, which would net the bank around $207,000, and that's not even counting this additional $25,000 HOA lien, which will be in second position. We would have to negotiate down. So you're seeing some of these FHA properties 6 figures over leveraged. Another key statistic about the FHA COVID-19 program is that they did this for 1.8 million homeowners, and Chris mentioned they only put 3.5% down. They're going to be the ones that are most likely to need a short sale. But how bad can the numbers really be? Well, we were able to get statistics from people that aren't in list pending yet, They're not in foreclosure, but they are 60 to 90 days past due on their mortgage. And if you look at the national numbers, 263,000 compared to just Florida, 22,000. And then all other mortgages, 440,000 are 60 to 90 days past due. So one thing, key statistic to point out is that FHA loans only make up 15% of the outstanding mortgages, but 60% of them are 60 to 90 days past due. So they are going to be the first ones to fall during this 3 to 4 year market shift that we're going to see over the next few years. So what do the numbers really tell you? It tells you the opportunities in FHA now, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of them. Even if the other mortgages are 60 to 90 days past due, they may not necessarily be over leveraged. So there could be a listing opportunity with equity as well. But regardless, this is not something that you want to ignore, right?
That's right, my friend.
This is just the beginning. History would indicate the short sale opportunities are going to increase over the next 3-4 years. Now is really the time to prepare yourself. If you're watching this video, you're already on the right step to make that happen by learning and expanding your knowledge so that you can learn how to do short sales, and you can hire us to train yourself and all of your staff for you. A lot of people, first thing when agents hear short sales, they think, I got to go back and forth, talk to banks, I got to do all this bureaucracy. That's not what I want to do. So Casandra, what are their options?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to build a short sale pipeline for yourself, and you can do it all yourself, which is an option, right?
And you've done it.
I've done it. I don't do it now, but I have done it. Get the title company to do it for you, which not necessarily recommended, because what happens is the title company is going to get overwhelmed. They're not going to give your file the time that it needs to get a successful closing. They're just trying to push the paperwork and process it to kind of keep everyone at bay. You can hire someone in-house to do all your short sales for you. They don't have to be licensed, so they're not really selling real estate, but you can hire someone, train someone. That's going to take a lot of time. You've got to know how to do it first if you're going to be training someone to do it. Or you can get your certification through us and through our network, have our preferred short sale processor do it for you.
Awesome. So short sale processing fees are now industry standard. What's typically the banks are often paying is a $49.50 processing fee, and that is on top of the commission. So this is not being cut into your commission for you agents that are watching this. 20% of the time, the bank will pay this out of the seller side of the settlement statement, so the seller isn't coming to close with any money. And then the other 80% of the time, you have to get the buyer to pay this processing fee, and they can't include it in their financing. So it's very important that as a listing agent, you prepare the buyer's agent or the buyer for this from the very beginning and discourage them from making an offer if they don't have this extra cash. Average sale price in Florida is probably around $400,000 or $500,000, so we're only talking about an additional 1%, and they're able to get a much better deal usually than they would find on a regular retail MLS transaction. The original Short Sales Riches backstory, just so you guys are aware, me and Chris started back in 2008, which was helping investors and agents getting their short sales approved and learning how to outsource all of the work. We've received hundreds of success stories, some of which are now real estate millionaires. And it's one of the most rewarding things we've probably ever done, right?
Yes, it was great.
You help a lot of homeowners. You help a lot of people make a living.
Right.
It's better than that. But, a lot has changed. So that's why we put together Short Sales Riches 2.0. I'm a licensed real estate agent and short sale specialist and digital marketer responsible for writing, along with Casandra and Chris, and formatting the newly revised Short Sales Riches 2.0 course. I was able to kind of take all the genius in Cassandra's head and, make it in a course that's easily understandable. Originally created the Short Sales Riches system with Chris. I've coached thousands of Short Sales Riches students all over the nation, some of who are many now real estate millionaires. And I'm an expert marketer, and I've been involved in all kinds of businesses. I've been involved in politics. I'm a pastor's kid and part-time ordained pastor myself. So Short Sales Riches 2.0 is a password-protected digital members area with 8 30 to 60-minute video modules. It's a 4-hour course. The information is not time-released or dripped. You can get everything as fast or as slow as you want. As things change or bank policies shift, the course will constantly be updated during this 18-year cycle. And it includes these 8 modules, which is Module 1, which is building or joining a short sale task force. That's kind of is an overview of everyone you need to have on your team to do this. Module 2 is lead generating and marketing, showing you how to get these deals, which you're going to find are one of the easiest types of listings or deals to run across because so many wholesalers and agents don't want to deal with them. Module 3 is the absolute best way to get short sales, which is something that Casandra actually taught me. And this is why she's closed hundreds and hundreds of short sales, because of just this one strategy that she did, which you'll find out about when you get enrolled. How to talk to sellers, buyers, and agents, the types of conversations you need to have to overcome objections and put the seller, buyer, and real estate agent involved in the transaction at ease so that you can move forward to the closing table. All the paperwork and legal mumbo jumbo stuff, that's all going to be covered. We have a sample short sale package that Casandra put together from one of her deals, a sample BPO package as well. Listing pricing and timing. We talked a little bit about this on this video. We're going to go a little bit more granular because this is one of the most important parts to making sure that everything gets approved. Short sale processing. Most of you probably won't even do this, but we do show you for training purposes for your staff, and you can also outsource this to our preferred processor. And then module 8, the most important part, which is all about the BPO. We have a bonus training that you're also going to get when you enroll on foreclosure defense and bankruptcy by my personal real estate attorney that does all my foreclosure defense and bankruptcy work. And then we have all these done for you services that you're also going to get when you enroll. We've got special discount on pre-foreclosure leads. So these are leads that you can get before they actually go to foreclosure, before your competition even knows about them. If you're going to be doing direct mail campaigns to say list pendants, remember all those people are getting a gazillion direct mail pieces and cold calls and all kinds of things from other agents, office investors, attorneys, all kinds of stuff. So this gives you a significant advantage. 30 to 60, 90-day lates from our secret source. These are normally 45 cents a lead, but we've got a special deal negotiated just for Short Sales Rich's alumni at 35 cents a lead with just 1,000 lead minimum. So this is huge. With 1,000 leads and $350, you'll have more leads than you know what to do with for the next 6 months. Done for you service number 2 is access to our nationwide private lenders. You can put 10 to 15% down. You can borrow both for the purchase price and the cost of the rehab. If you're running across investor deals that you actually want to buy, or you want to find a lender for one of your investors, this is a good resource to have. This is just another bonus that we have as part of the program. Done for you service number 3, our national investor short sale friendly title company. Any title company can close these types of transactions. Not all title companies are familiar with them. This company, not only are they operating in 38 states, but they'll provide the preliminary settlement statements on all your short sales for free. And that's something that you have to have. It's complicated to fill it out yourself. I wouldn't recommend doing it when you submit your short sale package. So you have that resource available at your disposal. And this is probably one of the biggest bonuses, access to our preferred short sale processing company. If you don't want to negotiate short sales, the Short Sale Pros will do that for you. Industry standard fee of $49.50 per file, which either the bank or the buyer will pay. You never have to talk to a bank again. It's all headed up by R.H. Richards. He's the owner of Loss Mitigation Services. We're very privileged to be able to partner with him on this. He did his first short sale in 2005. This guy's closed 700 plus short sale transactions. That's more than me and Casandra put together. And he currently has over 100 files and 3 full-time processors and hiring more. He's a real estate agent himself, and he has a closing percentage of an impressive 85% of short sale files submitted to his company. So you're really doing yourself a disservice by not having an expert handle this part for you. Remember, as mentioned before, the national average is only 25 to 35%. Having RH do your short sales means you don't have to be on hold with banks. We've got the credibility and the track record. And the closing percentage is going to give you 2 or 3 times the likelihood that you're going to get this all the way to the goal line. And this gives you more time and effort to focus on finding more deals and listing more property, or if you're an investor, buying more property. He even will give a 30-minute consult with the agent and the seller on every deal. He'll talk directly to your sellers to give them the warm and fuzzy feelings they need to move forward with this deal. And the biggest thing is if you're starting out and you've never done a short sale, you don't have any credibility. You're able to leverage his credibility by telling your clients or people that you're getting leads from that the processing company I work with has an 85% approval rate and closing percentage. So that's just absolutely huge. You're going to get access to him, but he only really wants to work with people that know what they're doing. That's why we have our certification program, so that you're able to articulate and really sound like you know what you're talking about when you're going out and talking to these sellers. This is a sample settlement statement. The processing fee goes right here on the HUD on either the seller or buyer side, just so you guys know. And we'll go into more details of this in the actual training. Short Sales Riches referral program. Like mentioned before at the beginning, we said that the you're going to have agents that you may decide that, okay, this is great, but I'm not going to do short sales. I'm focused on all this other stuff. That's fine. You should still get certified anyways, because you're going to run across them. As a Short Sales Riches alumni, you get access to short sales real estate veterans and agents that have gone through our training and have a proven track record. Just shoot me an email. We'll find a good agent that will pay you a 25% referral fee of the list side, so you can get paid for doing essentially nothing on these types of transactions. And Chris McLaughlin, myself, and Casandra, we literally are on a first name basis with short sales specialists in all 50 states, so it's not going to be a problem. This is free money, guys. You have to be a licensed real estate agent, obviously, to qualify for this bonus, so we can legally pay a referral fee. If you're an investor, though, and you just want to have an agent so that you can submit the offer on the short sale and possibly buy it, we can open up that Rolodex for you guys as well. So how much? Well, a lot of people, Chris, we have a lot of friends in the coaching and consulting real estate business.
Right.
They said,
my charge is $10,000.
You got to sell high ticket, $10,000. There's too many homeowners for us to help out. If we charge $10,000, we wouldn't be able to help enough homeowners. We're not going to sell it for $10,000. $997 is another price point. A lot of people are selling these high-end programs for. We're not going to sell it for $997.
Right now, you can enroll by just clicking the button below. It's just $297. It's delivered digitally and includes all the bonuses I just went over.
An additional bonus is because what's going to happen is you're going to go through all the training, and then you're going to get in the middle of a deal, and there's always going to be questions that maybe we didn't make 100% clear. So we're going to give you 30 days free of RE Mastermind coaching. This is a recent coaching call we just did last week with two of our students and myself and Casandra. You'll see James in the middle there. He's actually on his boat when he was doing the coaching call, which is interesting. You're able to ask questions. We'll role play, on cold calling and that sort of thing if you want to do that. Marketing ideas. It's all on a Zoom call. We do them every Tuesday at 2 p.m. and the calls are recorded. So if you can't make it, you can still watch the replay. You also get access to our RE Mastermind forum. And this is what it looks like. This is where all the courses and all of our content is all organized. And it's very, very active. This is a new enrollee, Danielle Jarman, that just got enrolled from, I think it was Duval County in St. Johns County and, Jacksonville type area. So she's very, very happy, very satisfied. You get 30 days free. And then it's just $97 per month. You can cancel anytime. You can watch the first 4 coaching calls and cancel. Your credit card won't be billed. There won't be no problems. But what we find is when people get on these coaching calls and they see how much value it is to be able to talk, especially this is where Casandra really shines. You're able to get on the phone with a $40 million a year producer and ask her any question about real estate outside of just short sales as well. Regular listings, investment stuff. Chris is on some of the calls as well. I'm on all of the calls. And then we also have RH and some other experts that we also will bring in depending on the week. The Short Sales Riches affiliate program, this is a way for you guys to make some extra money. One of the strategies in the course that we teach is holding classes. So when you invest in the certification, you become enrolled in our exclusive Short Sales Riches affiliate program. So most of the time when you're holding these classes, the people are going to throw their hands up and say, okay, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to refer all my business to you. But some of the people may decide, okay, I want to learn this. You can send them through our training and we will pay you 40% commission first tier on the course and 20% commission second tier. So if you find someone that has a big email list and they blast our special tracking link that goes to any of our sales funnels, it automatically tracks everything and we send out commission checks 30 days from the date the sale is made. So this is important because this is just extra money that you can make and you can take that money and stick it into marketing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So let's just quickly review everything you're getting. You're getting the Short Sales Riches 2.0 8-module certification, the foreclosure defense and bankruptcy training, access to discounted pre-foreclosure leads, access to our nationwide private lenders, our national investor short sale friendly title company, done for you short sale processing, 30 days of RE mastermind coaching, and you get our Short Sales Riches affiliate program.
All for just $297.
Go ahead and enroll now. That will take you to the order page where you fill out all your credit card information, and then you'll get access to our Short Sales Riches welcome video, which is basically an orientation of everything to expect. We've already got people enrolling. We've already got people who have gone through the certification or actively out looking for short sales, but it's really something where the three of us are really excited to bring you all, and we really hope that you guys sign up. Casandra, what about you? Anything else?
No, I just think the more educated you are, the better you are to help your clients. And if you plan on doing short sales, this is a must. And if you just want to have the knowledge, it's not going to hurt.
All right, awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this training and you got a lot out of it. I think it would be hard for anyone to claim that they didn't learn anything on this training, regardless of whether you sign up or not. But go ahead and click that button, get enrolled, and we'll see you on the inside. Take care. Comb your hair. See ya.